Hi, everybody. It's been a while. It's been a while. I'm here back in Hong Kong, and I wanted to share with you another part of Hong Kong, side of Hong Kong, which is the beach. This is the beach area on the back right there. This is Repulse Bay, and it's one of the nicest places in Hong Kong. And we are here only 20 minutes away from Central. So Central and Kowloon, those are extremely densely populated area. While here, this is more like I would say privileged area. I mean, rich people they live here, and they you have like wide sandy beach. It's extremely nice place. Bit expensive. It is expensive, but you have some very nice community here, and very peaceful. It looks like kind of a I would say it's a bit of a Phuket vibe, but you are still in Hong Kong. It's very surprising. A lot of people don't know that side of Hong Kong. It gets busy in the weekends because, of course, people that come here they do barbecues, and that's another side of Hong Kong. So I've been back in Hong Kong for a few days. I spent 2 months in South America, roughly a month in Brazil. I was in COP30 in Brazil with the pro-Palestinian delegation, and I spent a month in Venezuela. So now I'm back from Venezuela. I wanted to give you just a few updates on my experience there, and also on the abduction, the kidnapping of Maduro. My first reaction was there was an internal coup. I was extremely skeptical. The new government behind that coup, or what happened? And I had to be honest. Right now, my impression is that there was some treason within the Maduro clan. I think there's a general that has been arrested. And I want to believe that this new government is still aligned with the Chavismo, the party PSUV, and they are going to keep their stance when it comes to the US. We need to pay very close attention to if they are going to have some deals with the US or not. If they are really going to have some deals, then I would be, those are signs, not very positive signs, in the sense that you don't have deals. They are not win-win deals with the US because Trump in general is going to go for the whole power grab. And what was very surprising is that Trump rejected Machado. Machado was that lady that got the Nobel Peace Prize and was actually funded by NED. She had a media organization called Sumate, which was funded by NED, and NED, National Endowment for Democracy, it is a CIA outlet. So they had their own agent. And it seems like Trump has been criticizing her, rejecting her as not having enough backing within Venezuelan society, and he's been siding with Delcy, the new president of Venezuela. And I got skeptical. I was like, why Trump is backing Delcy? It makes her look like she was kind of part of the coup, if there was a coup. And we need to be extremely skeptical here. I would say, let's wait. I want to believe that Delcy Rodriguez, she is genuinely going to continue Chavismo and protect Venezuela's sovereignty, and they're still going to confront the US. Now, a lot of people they say it's interesting. Some commentators they say, why don't they cut the deal with the US? And but in reality, I would say this: if you are going to be enslaved by the US, they are going to take it absolutely all. You are going to be vassalized, and again, I think people need to fight as much as possible for their own sovereignty. And then, of course, you don't want to go into complete destruction by fighting the US. But when it comes to Venezuela, the US will never put boots on the ground. I would say the worst case scenario would be an asphyxiation of Venezuela economy. But Venezuela economy has been under sanctions for almost 20 years. Uh, it's got more self-sufficient. And how much can the US damage more Venezuela? The the oil production has been divided by 4. So there's very low oil production, and it seems like it's very difficult to do a complete full blockade, because you see the shore of Venezuela is a very long strip. It would be a huge cost for the US to have a total blockade on Venezuela. So I don't know how much they can damage more Venezuela economy. I would say they can be more disruption. They can further destroy Venezuelan army, and but that's all. In reality, if they want to take the power, they need to have allies on the ground, a fifth column, and they have to have boots on the ground. And I doubt that the US is going to go through an experience of Vietnam too, especially because Venezuelan army has been preparing for a war which which is guerrilla warfare. So there's a huge militia, millions of militia. You have a massive army, and they are. I think this is a war that the U.S. would lose, and this would accelerate the decline of the U.S. empire. So I would say we need to look carefully in the coming few weeks. What are the agreements, if there are any, between this new Venezuelan government and the Trump administration? I cannot do any speculation at this point. Nobody knows exactly. I would say what the new government needs to do is really shed light to what really happened with Maduro's, abduction, kidnapping. They need to be transparent about this, because I think people need to really make sure, just to really understand what happened. This is a responsibility they owe it to their own people. So they need to have an investigation, and we need to see what is next. At least I would say when it comes to Trump, there's a face saving here. At least he can go back to the US and say there's a mission accomplished. But I would say, as much as I believe there was a win for Trump, well, he did kidnap Maduro. But that's extremely superficial. I would say this could turn into a big loss for the US. Why? Because if Maduro starts to stand trial, and you have judges that cannot actually get him convicted because they have nothing against him. They have, he's a elected president. He should have immunity. There's absolutely no proof that is linked to, drug trafficking. They have absolutely nothing. All the excuses they had to arrest him were absolutely empty excuses, empty reasons. So I would say this could turn into a really major embarrassment, especially if regime change is not achieved in Venezuela. So as much as I believe this was a big loss for Venezuela at the beginning, it seems like over time, if they cannot achieve to have regime change, that could become a big problem. Now I understand that there's 30 days since Maduro was missing. There's going to be 30 days where they need to elect a new government. And I think this is where they might start to stir up problems, create chaos, and maybe have riots, activate a fifth column, and maybe regime change can be achieved then. But I think this won't stop here when it comes to Trump. They want to have a full power grab on the whole South America. They want to do a domino effect, meaning Venezuela, Cuba, Colombia, Nicaragua. They'll go after all those countries, including they're talking about going after Mexico and going after Brazil. So this is only the beginning. That's interesting now. I just posted a tweet just earlier, and I just realized, well, how many enemies the US has? They're going after every single country around the world. And even they are actually going after some allies. Greenland, for example, belongs to Denmark, but they're going against one of the allies. They want to take Greenland. It's very interesting. You just realize that the US has absolutely no friends. They're going after every single country. And they are more and more desperate. It's kind of worrying now, especially what you see, what is happening now in Iran. Who is behind the chaos in Iran is the Mossad, and de facto the Mossad is Israel and the US. So again, it's a declining empire that is getting more and more aggressive. So I'll try to give you some more updates, but that was basically my take when it comes to Venezuela. Again, sometimes we do speculation. We are not always right. I was kind of wrong. My first impression were wrong on Venezuela, but I just did admit I did make a mistake. The idea is that we have collective knowledge. You give me some inputs, my friends give me some inputs, and I try to think through, and this is like collective knowledge. We learn from each other and we try to, adjust our thinking. And there are more elements that are coming in. So it is hard when things happen that we come up with the right, answer. And still, we don't have the full picture now. But as far as I know, it seems like Venezuela, there was no regime change. Even though Maduro is not there anymore, but everything hasn't changed. The whole government is still there. There's no chaos. There's, the government, I would say the whole society is still quite united, especially after the attack, the US attack, the US aggression. So we need to see what happens in the next few weeks. More events will happen. And I would say we need to really check how close this government is going to be with the Trump administration. I'm very curious to see what will happen. But I would say for the US right now, would be legally very difficult to escalate more against the Venezuelan government. And again, there's absolutely no support internally in the US. And also, I think it seems the Congress is not fully backing Trump. So when the US goes to war, it needs to have a Congress approval, and there's none. So they would Trump would face again a problem of legality. So I'll try to give you more updates. Again, sorry, I didn't have much time. It was difficult for me to go live, to go on YouTube. I've been doing lots of interviews, but I try to be more constant. Again, if you like my reporting, like and share, subscribe. And if you want to support me, I'll put a link on how you can support me. And again, thank you very much, and stay informed. Have a good one.